we can find this missing 9-year-old little boy. Please repost this video. I need your help. We can find this missing 9-year-old little boy. Please repost this video and share it with everyone you know.
Okay.
This is 9-year-old Jayce Ishmon, who is missing from Freeport, Illinois, and he hasn't seen his father in 5 years. Throughout these 5 years, his father, Kade, has been desperately trying to be reunited with his son. Now, 9-year-old Jayce is currently Good evening, everyone, and this is my first YouTube live, so we're still working out the kinks, but we have a really heartbreaking story to share tonight, and I've talked about this extensively on TikTok, and so I'm bringing it over to YouTube as well so we can continue to get the word out about missing Jayce. He is 9 years old, and he hasn't seen his father, and his father hasn't seen him in over 5 years. And this is a rare case, I think, because seeing Kade and talking to Kade and seeing how passionate Kade is about trying to be reunited with his son is something that is heartbreaking to me, and it's got me involved in this case. And so I think it's gotten a lot of others involved as well. Since I talked about this on TikTok just for the first time a couple weeks ago, there have been people who have been constantly asking me about how's Kade? Is there an update on Kade? What's going on with Kade? And what's going on with Jayce, his son? Is there any updates going on over there? So this is a case that I'm excited to bring to YouTube as my first live. So hopefully we can get the word out there and find Jayce. That's the biggest thing here, is finding Jayce, getting him reunited with his father, who loves him and wants to see him, wants to take care of him, a father who's paid child support all these 5 years, although he hasn't seen his son. So we're going to bring up Kade to discuss and kind of dive into this case. So let's bring up Kade.
Hi.
Hi.
So introduce yourselves. This is Kade and his wife and little girl.
This is Gianna. And
Hi.
you want to say hi?
No, this is Gianna. She'll be 5 in February. I'm Shanae. So I'm Kade's wife. We have one on the way in May.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. That's Kade.
And I'm Kade.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
We know you, Kade, and I'm glad we got to see the whole family tonight as well. And I know the chat knows how much of a loving father you are, but just seeing you all here warms my heart. So
Thank you.
just, I've heard the story, and we've gone back and forth and talked about it extensively, and there's a lot to cover because it's been over the 45 years.
It's a lot.
Just start from the beginning and tell us, like you told me the other night on TikTok, how did you know that there was something wrong? How did this change? Because you had partial custody of Jayce, and there was a good custody working relationship, a good co-parenting thing going on. So when did that change?
So everything changed when she got married. And, I started seeing bruises and like marks and whatnot on my son. And then, I started asking questions, and then things started to get like a little weird, and I started to get more and more kind of like distance. And, then this was right before COVID too, and it went on for like about 6 months or something like that. Then they finally called it quits and used the COVID excuse to basically cut off all communication. And the last time I seen him was on his birthday. Around
2019.
yeah,
January 24th, 2019.
2020, yeah, 2020 January 24th, yeah. So it's been, even during COVID, I was I was trying to see him. At first I understood. I was like, okay, well, it's COVID. I understand. So, then like a month went by, 2 months, and the texting. I was even texting him, asking for my own son. That's what it pretty much started going towards anyway, kind of gravitating. Towards the end, I
So
had to get a hold of him, and it was like,
you had to go, eventually you had to go through this, this other man, and we're going to pop his picture up in a moment. And
right,
he's not, I guess he wants to call himself stepdad maybe, but you're the
right,
actual dad, and you can't talk to mom when there's been no problem prior. You worked
yeah,
together before he came in the picture.
absolutely. It really comes down to a control thing, and that's what I deemed it as. He just wants that pleasure of being in power. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And this is a photo of him. And tell me a little bit about what you learned from his past. And I've been looking into it as well. It seems like he's got a criminal record. He's got violence in his past. There's issues where he's been controlling and possessive over his former wife. So that's something that's scary. Hearing
yeah,
that, hearing the charges that you've sent me with the assault and the threatening and all of that. I mean, that's definitely something you wouldn't want your child to be around. A not now 9-year-old little boy to be around a man who has been involved in all these different types of violent incidences.
absolutely. So when I first found that out, they were just rumors at first because I didn't really know him, personally. And then I just started hearing it more and more and more, and it progressed. And then, finally, after the courthouses open back up and you're able to actually go down there and speak to judges, lawyers, everything else, 2 years later, um, I was able to open up a case in 2022. And from there, when I first opened that case, I never thought I would be dealing with what I'm dealing with right now. Just the different steps I had to take, all the motions, the 9 welfare checks, 9. You know what I mean?
That's just in the last couple months, really. Welfare
yeah.
checks.
I mean, we 5 at
we've been doing
least
welfare
6.
checks for years.
I mean, and every time they go over there, and it's we know they're here, but we can't enter the home. Like it's just, can you sit outside and wait? Can you get them served that way? I've done a publication, I've done certified letters, I've done sheriffs, we've
welfare, DHS,
DHS
showed up there. The cops actually have been there multiple times to tell us that everything's fine, Brittany's fine. And actually last Thursday they FaceTimed her at Rasaan's and had FaceTimed her, and she's fine. She's fine. The kids are fine. They saw the kids. They were running around playing outside, and it was dark outside.
Yeah,
so I mean, that's kind of like outside. It was dark outside, and it was winter. So it's like, okay, you're gonna tell me they were out there playing in the middle of winter outside and in the dark. You're not worried about that. So I mean, that's kind of what we've been dealing with. They're just not doing anything. It's just there's kind of like a no big deal to them. They brush it off.
And that's shocking to me that they FaceTime her and they talk to her on the phone. Well,
yeah,
and
she has a warrant.
Did they not ask her, why haven't you come to court? Why haven't you let this father see his son?
No, just
none of that, because those are questions we want to know as you've been paying child support, and it's not about that, but it's the fact that you've been there for your son. You haven't abandoned him. You've tried to be there, and you've been showing up to court trying to be there for your son and just have the ability to be present in his life. And where is he? Is he okay?
Right. And then there is a visitation order too as well. There's been one since 2018, and then another one got opened up because either it expired or they just couldn't find it, whatever the case may be. I had a new order. So that new order came when I opened my court case, and now we have to serve her. I said, okay, great. You know, I'm gonna see my kid. His order's back. All I gotta do is go to her house and serve her. I had no idea that I will be going through all these steps. I mean, just taking off work. We've. I mean, it's a game of cat and mouse. You know, it's exhausting. You know,
I mean, I guess in the
Well,
beginning,
but
we even thought that maybe in the beginning, maybe it was just kind of like a baby mama kind of deal. You know, she's
Yeah.
we really did think, oh, she's just holding Jay, trying to be bitter.
Yeah.
But no, I think when it all boils down and comes down to it, it's Rasaan making her a victim too. I mean, part of her is a victim because she can, you know, she's her own person. She can take care of herself. She can come forward, bring Jayce out, whatever. But a part of him is he's controlling. He's controlling. He's abusive. He's definitely somebody that we don't want around Jayce. We've been trying to get him away from him for years. I mean, with all the bruises and even before, like, we've been together since 2018 December, and we were seeing Jayce a lot, like her and Kade.
We co-parented well, yeah.
And actually, we were just making a timeline on the days that they have co-parented.
Yeah.
And yeah, from the day that he was born, all the way up till like December.
Right around, yeah.
Or something.
Right around.
Is right when it stopped the co-parenting. So right around when she had met Rasaan and started dating him, that's when everything kind of slowed down and stopped. And then all of a sudden, we didn't hear from her. He didn't hear from her.
Right
no message back. He never got Jayce.
It was really crazy actually. This is the first time I've really sat down and just looked at how the timeline went. I mean, we co-parented well. We had him a lot. We pick up, drop off. We didn't really even need court. We didn't need any of that. You know, we hung out. We all whatever. And you know, just to see the timeline progress, and then, you know, we were able to pinpoint, bam, right there exactly is when communication cut off, and that was it.
They haven't been. I mean, at first they were at a different house.
Yeah.
On the Pleasant Street house in Freeport. That was a couple years ago that we had started this.
That was.
Started this a couple years ago when they were trying to knock on the door and she wouldn't answer the door.
For years.
3 years, never answered the door. And then here we are. Fast forward to a couple years later and we're doing it once again. And they had moved to a completely different house. No answer. No welfare check answers. Like, it's just like no one's concerned. It's crazy. It's really just mind blowing.
Let's talk about the welfare checks, because you called, you know, several people said this in the chat. They said, do a welfare check, do a welfare check. Well, you haven't done a welfare check. You've done multiple, more than should have been done. Because here's the thing. She's got a warrant out for arrest. They should have went in there, done the welfare check, and took her to jail.
Absolutely.
I mean, when they FaceTimed her, wouldn't you think that it was crazy to me how they said, oh, well, we FaceTimed her and she'll be turning herself in. Okay, well, you're not like gonna be like, okay, well, where are you at? Or ping her location.
It was very,
like, track her.
It was not.
That just blew me.
It was, you know, and you know, I didn't even think about it until I left, and I was like, wait a minute,
it didn't track her or anything.
It's dark outside. Like, it's, you know, it wasn't pitch black, but I mean, it's dark outside and it's kind of cold up here. I mean, in Illinois on some days, we're still. I mean, I didn't really even think about that, but you know, him saying that. You know, they're running around and they look healthy and they're just enjoying that they're great. They're just, you know, time with their lives. I don't understand. I'm like, so you didn't take her phone or take his phone and do anything? Like,
I mean, I even called the sergeant. I called the sergeant, I think it was that same night.
Yeah.
Because another event had happened and they had left the scene and I had called him and I was like, look, I said, basically I told him that I could do his job better than him because I mean, they FaceTimed him. I said, you didn't even track him. Well, we didn't track her and she's fine. I said, okay, well, I would have tracked her.
Right.
I would at least tracked her and kept eye on her and knowing where she was at because she has a warrant. I mean, you're not concerned. Not concerned that the kids were outside running around, like playing whatever outside at night. And on top of that, Rasaan walked outside with a baby at the same time.
Now
there was a baby. There was a baby there.
Yeah, we got to get there. We got to. So
it was just a lot. Like
this is just this past week, you know, and it's
week.
So with them not knocking on the door and whatnot,
we had nothing.
Or if them knocking on the door for so long and them finally getting entry to the house, he called them last Tuesday. and hey, come over, go ahead and check the house. So DCFS goes over there, and there's there's not even a sock there that belonged to any of the kids. Um there was nothing. And then basically she was just like, wow, like, where is everybody? Well, we broke up in June of last year.
Seen her since June.
And it's like concerning because like you're not concerned about your own children at this point. You don't like you're not even worried. So there was definitely red flags, and she said that it was staged. So um that kind of led us to Thursday when that happened. He had a baby. Like, where'd the baby come from if he doesn't know where anyone's at? And they just had this baby in November, but he hasn't seen her since June. And where's the baby?
The baby's breastfeeding, so you can't tell me that it's hard.
I'm just so mind blown.
We just don't understand.
I don't get it.
We don't know if like the police are corrupt or like something's going on, because I mean there's no way that they're just gonna let somebody run free like that.
Jayce just turned 9.
Not anything.
Jayce just turned 9 on the 24th. So.
And
Yeah, we did
here's
just
another thing about it. He's never been in school.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's never been in school. So my aunt's pretty high up on the school board, so I had her look, and I've talked to other, people that are on the school board too, and he's never even been in anything, I already knew just by the type of religion like they're running, and I don't want to say this against all, it's not everybody, everyone's entitled to whatever that they, believe in. They definitely are. But it's just, I knew he wasn't going to doctors either, because the ex-wife told me, hey, we never went to doctor's appointments. We had to make everything by hand. We had to make everything, all of our soaps, conditioners, the toilet paper, you wipe with one hand and you eat with the other, and it was just these weird, like, set of rules. Like, all we ate was beans and rice. That's it. That was the diet. He would leave her in the middle of nowhere, with the kids and drop them off and punch in, to his shift with little food and water. And how can he be around my son, and I don't.
And as a father, you should have a say. And you have partial custody, correct?
Yeah.
But you haven't been able to see your son in over 5 years. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
I mean, she's violating the visitation too.
Tell everybody about the last time you were able to lay eyes on your son.
So last time I was able to lay eyes on him was on his birthday, actually, 5 years ago. I never thought that'd be the last time I see him. So I don't really.
I mean,
I think it's.
He's never been a sibling, so I mean,
Yeah.
She was born February of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So literally a month after we saw Jayce, she was born. That's the last time we saw him. I mean, it's been 5 years.
Yeah, I just don't understand all this. And people say get a lawyer and whatnot, but I mean, it's really hard. Everyone's struggling. A lot of I know I am. And it's
that's something a lot of people have been saying in my chat. Get a lawyer, get a lawyer. I don't think you should have to. When you have issues like this, you have Child Protective Services. We have law enforcement agencies that are paid for by the taxpayers.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, there's no need. There should be no need for a lawyer, because the lawyers are going to have to go through the courts and through the police. The fact that these police officers aren't worried about a 9-year-old little boy is shocking to me. Now, as for the mother, I think the mother's in a bad situation as well.
Absolutely. I do too.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think she's a victim for sure.
Yeah.
But my point is, you can't police everyone's life. So at some point, the police can't tell her to stay away from him if that's what she wants to do. But talking about the 9-year-old little boy that you have partial custody of, that's a different issue that needs to be solved immediately.
Yeah.
Now, we've seen some of these photos. Talk to me about this photo.
So this photo here happened when he was in Freeport. He was left unsupervised. Obviously, she was single and with somebody, and Jayce was unsupervised and ran outside, and he got hit by a truck.
How old was he here?
2016.
I think he was. I think he was probably 2.
So he was 2 years old. He was in her
2 years old.
custody, and he was
Yeah.
in her custody, and she left him unsupervised to go play outside, and he got ran over.
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard other stories too, but I don't want to back anybody. She had already
That's
been.
respectful, and that's one thing I'll say about you, Kade, is I've never heard you speak bad about. I've never heard you speak bad about Rashad as bad as I would have spoke about him.
Yeah.
And as bad as the mother, I would have spoke about her too, because
Right.
she's got partial custody, and she's not. I mean, she's asleep at the wheel in terms of what she's supposed to be doing for this child. At the bare
Yeah.
minimum, he needs to be in school. He needs to have access to health care, and he needs to be seeing his father who wants to be in his life. So all of this, things like the photos I'm putting up there right now are perfect examples of why Jayce does not need to be with her,
Right.
because she's not taking care of him. And then now that she's with this guy, it just seems like a very, very dangerous situation for any child to be in. And the fact that Jayce isn't the only child, there might be multiple children, and she's got children with him apparently.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's really scary for all the children involved.
Yeah. It definitely is. And I just try not to talk bad about people because I'm so numb to it, and I've been doing this a long time. Longer than she's been alive. She woke up the other day. It was like, I want to see my brother Jayce. I was like, you don't even know him. But we talk about him so much like he's here, and he's not. I didn't do anything to be alienated for 5 years. 5? I mean, it's
obvious that Rasaan's the problem because
absolutely.
You guys they were co-parenting just fine, and then all of a sudden he comes along and it was like
brainwashed her. Seriously,
brainwashed her, advantage, hadn't seen Jayce.
Her family hated me for years. It's because he brainwashed them into hating me, and then soon took her away from them. I mean, it's how it works. So I'm at a loss for words, because right now I don't even know. Like, no one really no one's contacted me all day.
I mean,
no one really has really said much.
You guys have done more than
absolutely,
Freeport Police,
absolutely.
DHS have done more than welfare.
A lot,
and that is just crazy. That it's like strangers like you guys that can be helping us so much more than the downtown cop. That they don't care. Like, they don't care. All they care about is their paycheck. Well, that's really all they care about. They don't give a crap. So I mean, he was even told by one of the cops that it was conspiracy theories.
Oh. Oh yeah.
His top is conspiracy theories. So we're like, what
conspiracy theories? And it's like, how are they conspiracy theories when I've got the proof to back it up? Like, I've got everything. I'm not.
I think this timeline is gonna help.
There's a lot of cases out there that I've seen doing true crime where it's a hard case, it's a messy case. This isn't one of them. There's nothing. It's very clear to me, very clear from when I first heard it, what's going on here, and the fact that nothing's being done. When you call a welfare check, it's a welfare check for a reason.
No, they're shipping. No, it's done at 5. Okay. It's done at 5. 5. They have families too. It's done. It's over with.
And I've never.
Then,
what did they? That's what they told you. They don't do welfare checks after 5 p.m.
Well, the officer that was on duty, he's got a home too. I mean, he's got a.
Their first responder.
I mean, it's not funny at all, but like I'm so I'm numb to it at this point, and it's like I'm still paying child support. Like I'm still paying child support. Like I put in
not that big of a deal. It's just the fact that we haven't seen Jayce, and it's like, okay, well, he works and pays the child support, so like he deserves to see Jayce. He wants to see Jayce, deserves to see Jayce, and like no one's doing anything for him to get Jayce. I don't judge nobody. State's attorney, she's never in the freaking office.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, it's hard to get a hold of anybody. No one calls us back.
Yeah,
they really, I just feel like I really feel like they don't care about this case.
Like if
it's petty.
Or sadly a joke, unless it's not exactly, and that's what I'm trying to get at. Like welfare checks. I mean, what was the point? Yeah. What was the like? You described it, Ethan. You described it the other day. You know, if there was an elderly woman who was laying in, you know, laying in there or something. I mean, they would go in. You know, and
yeah, that's my point about welfare checks. There could be a dangerous situation. You need to put eyes on that child. And I've dealt with cases where there's welfare checks in the past, and they put eyes on. I've never seen them to not put eyes on the child. So
no, especially not in school or anything.
Yeah, this is a sad case, and all the evidence is there. The fact that he's not enrolled in school,
and we have more. We just found more tonight.
Yeah,
so we have more evidence.
It's like
piling up.
It's like the deeper we get, the more we
comes out. I mean, the more we find, the more evidence we find it, and then and honestly, like this timeline that we just created, literally just gave us that actual visual. It gave us that visual of how long Jayce has not been around. And then it shows the visual of how long he was around and how well they co-parented. And then all of a sudden it just drops off, which is just strange. It's weird. I mean, you would think that somebody would look at that and be like, okay, now we're going to do something about this because where has she been?
This is what I've seen in cases that are in the neighborhood of this. I wouldn't say the same as this. When it's a custody dispute, they don't want to get involved. But this is not a custody dispute.
Right.
I mean, the child's missing.
Yeah,
he hasn't been seen by his father in 5 years. He's not enrolled in school.
Right.
There would be records if he was enrolled in school, if he was enrolled in homeschool, there would be some type of records going on. And here's the thing, everybody, and this is the news flash. You've seen the photos of how the mother wasn't watching him and he got ran over by a truck, and you've said that there's several people who've said that there were bruises on the mother and bruises on Jayce. Oh, yeah. So do we think that, this is the type of environment where he's getting a top-notch at-home education when he doesn't even seem like his very basic needs are being met?
Yeah. So and that's the sad part about it. It's just thinking about that, so many people have came forward and they're credible, and it's like their testimony, it just means nothing. It's just all it is a screenshot.
Let's talk about the missing persons report. And because for a while you weren't able to file one, and where are you at on that? Tell us, start from the beginning and tell us what they told you. And then have you been able to get one now?
Yeah, so Melissa was actually able to, contact the family and, tell them the story. She talked to the brother for about an hour.
The mother's family.
Yes, of the mother's family. Yeah, so she talked to him for like an hour and pretty much squashed everything, and they seen what was really going on, and they connected the dots. How was she before she met him? And they're like, well, she came around, she Christmas and stuff like that. And now like nothing. They'll talk to her for a couple days, maybe, and then they won't hear from her for a few weeks. And sometimes, is it even her they're talking to?
Right.
They don't really know. I know it is. And that's the crazy thing about it, is because she wasn't like that at all. And it's like everything changed. And seeing that timeline tonight, it really put a stamp on things.
Things in perspective.
Yeah.
It's just it's a difficult situation.
I can't even imagine. I mean, difficult, I don't think even touches it, because the fact that you don't know where your son is enough to make anybody, and I'm sure I've got several parents in the chat, not knowing where your child is enough to make anybody go crazy. And then when you're turning to the only avenue you know to turn to, law enforcement, child protective services, they're not helping. And they're not helping adequately, in my opinion. And I think just about everybody would agree with me. What they've been doing is not enough at all.
I feel silence. Like, I really feel silence. I feel like there's, up until I met Melissa and you guys and everybody, I mean, you really, this is not, I mean, it's about him.
You guys are
It's not,
tremendously, like, really, really. Yeah. I think that since you came along, I know we're gonna find Jayce. We're gonna get Jayce, and I mean, the cops can't hide this shit forever. I mean, Jayce can't hide forever. Brittany can't hide him forever. So it's gonna work out.
No, I mean, once you shine a light, the dark can't hide. There's nowhere it's going to be able to hide, especially when all the people who are involved in the true crime community start sharing this case out. Because enough's enough. 5 years, that's way past reasonable time for them to get involved and get something done. So this needs to be resolved, and for the sake of the mother too, because that's not a good situation. And for the child who has a father who loves him out there, when you work in child protective services and law enforcement, I think you should have a passion for these types of issues where you can help reunite parents and children and solve things and get things resolved. And this is a case where I think it could be easily resolved.
Melissa, you have to unmute, honey. Melissa, I just came up to, I'm going to go back down, but Melissa, can you unmute?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I just wanted to address a few things. So some of the comments, I just wanted to address some of them. He cannot just stop paying child support. That is through their custody agreement that goes through the state of Illinois. If he does not pay that without going to, before a judge, they will garnish his wages. They will take a driver's license. That's how that works. And so it's not the option of just quit paying. He could go to the court and ask them to, take that off. He could even go to the court and ask to resign his rights. He's not doing that, of course, but I just wanted to make that clear that he can't just do that. Number two, we have called local news outlets. What you guys can do is contact all the news outlets that you possibly can to get his story out there. The more people, the better. Local law enforcement is not doing anything. We do have text messages from the police officers saying that all of these reports are ridiculous. They're all hearsay, which they are not. We have talked to the previous ex-wife, and I really want to clarify what happened to her. So she was kept hostage. She was kept against her will by this man, and her children were not allowed to go to school. They were not allowed to go to doctors. They were not allowed to buy things. If he went to work, he put them in the car, took them to work with him in the middle of nowhere, left them in the car, took the keys in the middle of the heat, and they were there with a newborn baby. She had a disability. She had a fake leg, and he would take that so she couldn't escape. And how they escaped was there was another wife in the basement that one of the kids had seen that there was a phone. So she said, call 911 if you see the phone, and hang up. They called 911 and hung up. The police came, and she ran out of the house and saved her and her kids. So it's not this, made up story that the cops are, trying to say and push off. It is a really dangerous situation. And no, we can't save everybody, but it needs to be taken seriously. Now, I also wanted to address, yes, he's gone to court. Yes, he's gone before the judge. Yes, he's gone to the state's attorney. He has gone to the police. I have called the police. I run a nonprofit for domestic violence victims, and I have talked to the captain, the police chief, and he is absolutely ridiculous. The way that he speaks is very uneducated. So it's just like the problem is they don't even know their own laws. Okay, they probably went through some course of 6 months and that's it, and they think that they can't go in this house with probable cause, which they do have probable cause, but they're not doing their job. And if it's not corrupt, they just don't know the laws, and which I don't doubt that's might what be going on. Also, yes, he does have Cash App. He does have a GoFundMe. Everybody's in the comments saying, you need a lawyer, you need a lawyer. Feel free to donate to the GoFundMe because, I mean, he does need that help for that attorney. No, he should not. Ethan is 100% correct. He should not need an attorney. This is bullshit. But for him to get somewhere, we need an attorney at this point, okay? Like, yes, he needs to file for full custody in order, then it becomes a kidnapping. Once, she doesn't turn over the child and he has full custody, then it is kidnapping. But he can't afford a lawyer at this point in time. So please, if you are able to donate, I'm sure Ethan can get you his information. I don't know it off the top of my head, but he does have Cash App. He does have a GoFundMe. But it would be preferred if you donate to the GoFundMe to the Cash App, because GoFundMe takes out fees. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to clarify those things. Sorry, Ethan, for taking over. But go ahead.
Thanks, Melissa.
Can I address this comment, Ethan?
Yeah.
It says it's not difficult if he's paying child support, he gets to see the child. He should stop paying the child support and see how quick the mom reacts. Okay, let's also remember that's not how it works. Child support and visitation are two totally different things in the court of law. And if he was to stop paying child support, then how does that make him look as a father? He's doing everything right and has been since Jayce was born.
Well, it went back down.
Absolutely. And then, it's not, I'm sorry. It's like, it's not stop paying child support. You can't. It's linked to your social. Say I chose a new job or something like that. It's linked automatically, so it kind of, you can't just stop. There's been days where I've been sick for 3 days, and then my other 2 go right to child support, so it's like that whole week's gone. You might as well just throw it in the garbage. But I've done every avenue. I've been through. We. I mean
everything. I mean, even I've talked to the cops. They just. And just like Melissa said, they're uneducated.
Yeah.
They really don't know what they're. I mean, even when I talked to one of the chiefs, he said that he didn't know that this was going on. He had no idea what was going on. I mean, I knew more than he did. And I was like, look, I said, you guys didn't even go in this apartment. Oh, we didn't have a search warrant. Okay, well, I understand you need probable cause, but him being people coming out saying that he's an abuser and his son's in danger and that all this other crap is happening, that's not enough probable cause. Well, I gotta go. And then he hung up the phone and then tried making up an excuse that he'll call later. So it's just, that's what we've been dealing with. Literally.
Here's the thing. It is enough for them, because I've seen, which different areas are different, but I've seen police officers do a lot more with a lot less information than what I've seen here. So the fact that they're not jumping to do anything is shocking.
The town's the town's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody.
So I want to explain this comment. DHS is DCFS. Those are all the same organization. They have a different name in different counties. Yes, he has a order, and yes, he has shown the police. That's why she has a warrant out for her arrest. Will they go get her? No. And do we know why? No. I mean, there's been, Ethan's been pushing this out, and people have been blowing up the police station. They are calling, and the police are not doing anything. I mean, they have sent, when I sent the chief an email and told him, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Go in there and get that. Well, his response was, yes, we have gotten all the calls today, and we are doing our best to address this accordingly. That was his response. He also told me about this one victory case of, he told me, I just want to give you some history about me. In 2020, a child went missing, and it was parental alienation. And working with the National Children's Missing Agency, I found the child safe in California. That was his one amazing story. So, I mean, that should give you an idea of what we're dealing with, okay? Like,
then do it again for Jayce.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the fact is that I think it's a small town. They are uneducated as far as the laws go. And if that's your biggest amazing story, I mean,
you would think that they would know who Rasaan is as a person, being a small town.
Yeah. You know, and the crazy thing about the situation is, you know, I talked to the ex-wife today, and she said, you know, I gave a name out. I'm not gonna say who or anything like that, but you know, I gave a name out, and she said, that's who handled my case. That's who handled my case, because
the officer.
I don't want to.
The officer?
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
Wait.
It
was the officer?
Not the DCFS case. The detective who.
No, the detective. Okay.
Was on the.
Let me help you, Kade. Let me explain this. So, like I said, this woman was held against her will. When the police came, she ran out of the house, and that is how she saved her and her children. These officers did not charge him with kidnapping, with keeping her hostage, with all of the other abuse allocations of being held within a house. This is trafficking. This is, you know, a lot of people think that trafficking is being sold for, you know, pleasure. That's not always what trafficking is. It's keeping somebody against their will for your own benefit. That's what trafficking is. Now, the fact that they did not do their job when this woman, I have talked to her, she is such a victim, and she doesn't even realize it. She thought it was, they told her it's domestic violence. That's what they told this woman. She has a permanent restraining order, and he had a DV charge. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's really
but according to
interesting.
him, there's no record of any of that.
Yeah.
According to him, there's no record of any of that, of the exes.
Yeah, there's no.
This is recent.
Yeah, there's no. You know, I
nothing.
I feel so silenced, like even still, because like I woke up and then I get a text, and it's, you know, we're doing everything we can, but the conspiracy theories, you know, they need to stop. So what am I supposed to do in that situation? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to react to that? What's so conspiracy? You know, and then I sent the evidence. I sent it right over. Where's the conspiracy when it's coming right from the horse's mouths? Where?
Yeah.
I'm so angry and just hurt, and I didn't know what I was doing when I first started.
There's no
like I didn't know what else to do. It was a shot in the dark. I mean, it really was. I just want my son. Like, that's it. That's all. This can literally all be over.
Yeah.
Literally everything. And it's just, how many more people is this happening to besides me? That didn't.
Far too many.
You know,
not like this though. I feel like this case is like, it's just different. I don't know. There's something about this case that just doesn't fit.
And let me tell you something. I've never seen a case like this that has been so clear. You know, everyone in the chat are saying, quit paying the child support, quit paying, Well, that's, I know you can't, but the point is, that's what's, you know, in some places you can, and that's what some parents do. So then they don't pay their child support, and then it comes into a custody issue. It's like, well, dad wants to see his kid, but dad hasn't paid. So the fact that you've done everything right and you continue to go through all the proper channels and do everything right is admirable to me. And it's that's what makes this case different, because usually there's a hang up. It's like, okay, well, dad didn't do this, or dad did There's none of that here.
Right.
No, I mean,
Maybe.
he's never given up since I've known him. I mean, seriously. I mean, there might have been like a week or two there where he's like, well, you know what, whatever. But then I'm just like here for him and trying to make him be positive and get him right back in that mindset that no, we're gonna get Jayce. Like whether it's gonna take 10 years, 12 years, I don't care. We're
We
gonna
have
get him.
to. I'm not stopping. I'm
Yeah.
not. You know, something the past couple of weeks, it just
It's
it's been 5 years, but it's just been so. Maybe
Because where do you
like
go
the past
with
month,
it?
it just.
It's like where do you go when it's so
Oh.
obvious? Like it's just obvious. It's obvious of what it
Yeah.
is that's holding Jayce from
Yeah.
from coming home.
And even when he, you know, when he lied to the DCFS worker about, you know, him not even being able to, or him not seeing them, he doesn't know where they are. He sent her a whole state away. I mean, he sent her to Iowa.
But then there's a baby 2 days later.
She was looking in Iowa. I mean, having police look at the cameras and see with the license plates and whatnot. And I feel bad because I mean, like, but what?
Wait, let's address the fact that the first time the DCFS worker went there was evidence of children there. Then the second time they went there, which was not too long ago, all of their items were gone.
Yep.
No signs of women or children in that house.
Absolutely. And my last case was actually open October 3rd, and it was closed October 16th. And, you know, I'm like, why would you close my case? You know, like, why? We haven't been able to get in any contact, and they're not answering, and we're really busy.
Yeah, it's a petty case. If you're another one, it was a petty case.
It's a petty case, yeah, due to the charge is petty.
But then we have, Kade, we have a DCFS worker that is on our side that we talk to quite often, that you talk to all the time, and she is advocating for you. But and she went to the state's attorney and asked for a search warrant, and they would not give it to her.
They turned it down.
The next day.
That's what happened. Yeah, she didn't. Yeah. Well, she sent the email. Yeah, but she still turned it down. Didn't show up to work. Didn't show up Monday.
Yep.
Here we are. You know, it's even the officer said that he presented it to the state's attorney and nothing. They just turned it down. I'm on my own. Like we're
not now.
I mean, yeah, like not. You understand? That's what they. Yeah, I'm never on my own with you guys. So I appreciate it. I just.
I'm thinking.
I don't get it.
Can I say this real quick? So let's remember, I don't know if a lot of you people know this, but his ex-wife, who he has children with, who actually has a lifetime restraining order against him for her and the children, he has violated, FYI. We're assuming it's that one. With that being said, he would take her and the children and drop them off in the middle of nowhere while he worked so that they didn't have any access to get away, to get, and I know that sounds crazy, but you're terrified. You know, he's always found you. I mean, you just can't imagine the abuse that these were going through. However, think about this. When they FaceTimed her, when he FaceTimed her and said, see, here she is, and here's the kids, they were running around and they were outside and there was no home or an apartment complex or any building inside.
It was dark in the middle of winter. This was just last week.
And that's what I've been warning them about, like, for months. You know, my connect, they were saying if they find out, they'll go to his land. I said, where's his land? Well, he has land in several states, Colorado, California. I mean, I don't know exactly, though. I don't know exactly. But
the California didn't go that far to find those addresses. I mean, he even asked me what the addresses were.
Does this man have connections to law enforcement?
That's what I said. So. That's what we're thinking.
Honestly, I'm scared to say.
I don't know.
And I don't know.
I think so. I think so.
I think so too, because there's something weird about when they were there last Thursday and we pulled up and he was talking to the cops and like it was just kind of like nonchalant. Like the cop, he looked creepy. He looked psycho.
Yeah.
To be honest,
yeah, he did.
I scared, like
I kind of backed up.
Killer.
Yeah, I backed up like yeah, I backed up. I was like, because he was just.
He had like a blank stare in his face, like just looked and said, "No, everything's fine."
You have police officers, and here's the thing: usually, in my area at least, which I'm in New Orleans, so the cops they have a short attention span in nonsense around here. But you know, police officers, from my experience, they don't like to go back and forth. So if you keep calling out, they're like, okay, we're, if it's domestic or any type of issue, it's like, okay, somebody's going to jail because we're not coming out here like clockwork every week.
Right.
So
Exactly.
they usually shut it in my area. They shut it down. They get it handled. They
Well,
don't
they're gonna
play
do that.
around. They don't, and they know, and even in this big city, they know, when multiple calls are getting called in, or there's an issue, they're usually aware of the issue, and they're like, no, we know what we're dealing with, and we're going to get this handled. So the fact that they're just playing around, and this isn't a dispute between boyfriend, girlfriend, none of that. This is a child.
Right.
No
And no one's seen.
Victoria says, what about a public defender? That's a defender, not a prosecutor. Or a defender is going to defend someone if they're the criminal or they're the defendant. So Kade is not the defendant.
I mean, if they're part of the Freeport court system, no. I mean, that it's not going to happen because they all work closely together. I just don't think.
Public defenders are not for family cases. They're only for
right. We need a lawyer. Like, we need the top lawyer that we can get because at this, I think this goes. We need Jayce back, and Jayce is missing. Where's Jayce? But this also goes beyond that too. I really do. I really feel like this goes beyond to the city, to the cops, to everyone that's involved. It's everybody involved.
There was a sighting. Hey, there was a sighting. Hey, for breakfast on 1/14/2025 of the mother.
Yeah, of the mother and the husband. Yeah, there was.
So Ethan, with all your knowledge of what with the the law, and like we've seen corrupt shit before, what can we do now? Like, I think that we all need to like brainstorm what we can do besides go to these local police. I told them we need to go to state's attorney general, start writing Congress, start writing your senators, start writing the governor. I mean, that's who I think that we need to be addressing. I mean, everybody everywhere. Like, you can write the governor, of Illinois. We can get other eyes on this. And I mean, Ethan, what is your advice in this type of situation?
I think the biggest thing is spreading the flyer. Get it on social media. Get it out there. Continue contacting law enforcement and let them know that nobody's forgotten. Because usually with these big entities, they may get a bad wave of publicity, or they may be, under fire during 1 week. But if their feet are continuously held to the fire, they're not going to have a choice but to act and get this resolved. And I think those who are watching who want to do something, call the numbers that are on this flyer. Continue calling and asking. Reach out to the local news stations. Get it shared so everybody's talking about it. So it's one of these cases that goes nationwide and that everybody's talking about. Because when everybody's talking about it, everybody, like everybody who's here right now, is going to be fed up along with Kade and want this to get resolved.
Yeah.
That's how we got Micah's story heard, because they tried to shut that shit down real fucking quick.
Yeah.
And we put that out there. We all put that out there, and it went national because of, the people who fought for her. So, I mean, I tell Kade all the time, like, we just got to keep fighting. We got to keep going, because that's what we did with Micah. We just kept pushing.
Now, I think it could be discouraging because it has been 5 years, and this case is I'm just hearing about it. A lot of people are just hearing about it for the first time, but there are a lot of cases that are not heard about for years and years, and then they just go big and it gets resolved just like that. So that's what we need. We need people to share it, and it's going to take more than just us. It's going to take everybody sharing it, talking about it, bring it over to wherever you're hanging out on TikTok lives or YouTube. Have you heard about this case? And getting other creators involved too, and telling them. That's why I had this live here on YouTube, so people could come back and watch it and get updated, get the information so they could take it and continue to spread awareness and get the case out there, because it needs to be known about. And this is a case that can be solved. This seems very easy to me.
It could be
this could have been solved.
There's no
actually 5 years ago.
Yeah, there's nothing to it, and in 2019, the crazy thing is when I was driving, I was driving through, and I see the ex, of Rasaan. I see the ex, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" I said, "She's like, I'm trying to pick up my kid, but he's not letting me." So she actually called a welfare check to that old address, that I later on down the road ended up knocking at for 3 years, and he called a welfare check, and they were saying that they weren't home and blah blah blah. Well, come to find out later on, the kids were in the basement, and that is proof. There's no conspiracy theory. There's nothing. That's what it was. They wouldn't open the door, and he told them to hide, go in the basement. They found all of them in the basement. So she messaged me when they went over to the house, like, did they check the basement? I'm like, I don't know. Why?
That makes
Like,
sense, Kade. That makes
huh?
sense because he comes out of the house after 2 or 3
Mhm.
days before telling that he hadn't seen them since July. He hasn't seen her or his kids, but not even 15 minutes later, when they came the last time a couple of days ago, he walks out with a baby on his hip after they
Like, where'd the baby
lied to
come from?
PCS.
And
They didn't say anything.
there's no
Nothing.
charges for lying to police officers. There's nothing. The ex-wife even he contacted the kids through like a text now app. They've got a permanent, lifelong order of protection, no contact, whatever it is in your state. But I mean, she called the police and they went there. They went to the police station in Wisconsin and sent it to Freeport. Nothing. It's, well, Freeport. Well,
It was the
kind of got to prove that the text was sent in Illinois. Just what's the point of it? Like, what's the point of? I'm just every avenue we've taken is just if we figured he goes to jail, Jayce comes out. Nope.
Well,
nothing.
Nope.
Just
so
around.
Kade, what are your next steps? What are you, I know there's a lot, but what are you waiting on now? Have you put emails out, and are you waiting for responses from anybody in relations to law enforcement?
Yeah. I'm actually still waiting on the missing person report that I filed. I was told yesterday that I can't have access to it. So only DCFS and state's attorney and the police have access to it. I don't have anything.
So it's not public.
So it's not public because I was looking on there like, where is this? Where is this?
I don't understand that either. There's a lot of
Is that how it works though? I don't know.
No.
I'm not the lawyer. I don't know.
I mean,
I've
is that
never
the whole
heard
point of this report?
none of this makes any sense to me in terms of what law enforcement's telling you, because the whole point of you have somebody missing, you want to get the word out there so people
That's
can
right.
find.
People to find her.
Exactly. And
Rasaan knew.
yeah. Oh, he knows.
When we left the police station,
Yeah.
they knew. Brittany somehow knew, but like we think it was Rasaan messaging her family because she messaged them talking about it. The missing persons report that hadn't even been out yet. We just left the police
right
station.
after we
And
got
they knew
done.
about
And
it.
I don't know.
So, I mean, that right there told me that they were working.
I don't know how.
Working in the law enforcement, because how are you going to know that before everyone else knows that?
I don't know.
Let's explain that a little clearer. So the family. So one of the brothers
Brittany's
said that.
brother.
Yeah. So Brittany's brother said that before they even left, 15 minutes after they filed the report, she called or text and said that the police called and said that they filed this report on her.
Right.
And,
Yep.
and the police said that they would not share who reported her missing, and they did anyway. They shared it with Brittany.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
Or Rasaan, one of the two, they knew. We don't know how. We literally had just lived.
and he was freaking out about it. Like,
That's
how does she know? Like, how does she, is, so I don't know. I haven't talked to him in 5 years. How am I going to know?
Shirley, what questions are you wanting answered? I mean, I haven't seen any of your questions. This is just, it's so important, and for everybody to understand that even her parents, her family, her brothers are on Kade's side. They're on Jayce's side. and they too feel the same way. So I do want everybody to, what city? Fremont, Illinois. We
Freeport.
said that in Freeport. Sorry, we said that in the
Freeport,
beginning.
Illinois. Yeah.
Freeport, Illinois. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing for those of you watching is share it out. This is on YouTube, so people will be able to go back and rewatch it. Continue to share it out. There's a lot that we went over here because this is 5 years worth of
5
father
years. 5 years. I'm just
We
rounding.
could be here all night. I mean, there's still more. I mean,
And
there's
we
so
barely-
much.
Yeah.
It's been an
Yeah.
hour and
those
10 minutes, and we
watching,
don't
you're
even.
like, yeah. You're like, what all have we gone through? Well, it's a lot, and that's not even everything that you've gone
No.
through. Kate, and
Uh-uh.
your wife,
We're
who's
definitely
been
going to have to do another live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
I mean, there's a
definitely gonna
whole
have to
other
do
side
another
of the story.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, we are going to write a letter to the attorneys general.
Yeah.
I think I can't
I think
remember.
we all should.
The governor. I think I wrote one to the governor a few weeks ago. So I need to look up on that, but maybe just write him again. But for sure, like attorneys general, I think we really need to like do something on that means because
Well,
it's just going above and
The
beyond.
local news, they need to know that the local law enforcement aren't taking this case
Right.
seriously.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Who you're supposed to be able to turn to, your first responders. I've never, in my time of, and I'm a very vocal advocate for the first responders, unless
right.
we need to hold some things to accountability. But I've never seen first responders, at least the ones I know, talk about, well, it's 5 o'clock, I got to go home. If you want a 9 to 5, the
Yeah.
first responder life ain't for you or military.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Right,
I've
you're on
never,
call.
especially when it's a missing child, how can you say, those of you on my YouTube, looking at this 9-year-old little boy, oh, what? It's 5 o'clock, I'm clocking out for the day. I'm going
Right.
home.
And that hurts.
That's beyond me. To say that is beyond me. I've never heard a first responder speak like that. And whoever that is doesn't need to be a first responder because his heart ain't in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like,
Kade does have the proof of those text messages of them saying, like, we're not going to do anything.
petty
Saying
case.
that this is petty.
My case is
Stop
petty.
making stuff up.
The judge told him he can't do his job for him.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the last time we talked to the judge.
Sorry.
I mean, he can't do his job for him. We're like, okay,
just-
well then who's going to do your job?
This
Because
is-
that's his job.
It's just been circles. I mean, it's just been so much. There's so many paperwork, so much. I've got the certified letter sitting down there at the post office still because
Yeah.
they couldn't find her. And you know,
Yeah.
the cameras on the front, cameras on the back. I mean, their cars are here, but we can't go in. Why can't you go in? Because your case is petty. I said, all right, let me try to get a warrant or something like that. Then I get the warrant. I'm like, yes, you know, we got her. The warrant's been out for 2 months. 2 months, maybe what? January, November, December,
October.
or whatever month it was. It's been out, and I was like, I'm finally gonna find Jayce, you know. And then we get there, and it's like, all right, well, your warrant doesn't let you go in houses. It doesn't. We can't just kick the door. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. I can't. I don't get it. I do not get it. I don't have any problems with anybody else, just but this situation. I didn't do anything to harm them. I wasn't mean to my kid. Nothing. I love Jayce and I miss him so much. So much. So much. Like so much.
Every time
That's my only boy. I say it all the time. Like it's my only boy. Like I love him so much. I love the girls too, but it was my first son, and I got robbed. I was robbed. I was literally robbed by the police department and whoever else because like I've been going in this circle forever.
Every
Forever.
time I talk to you, that's
I
something
don't-
that
I don't get it. I really don't get it. You know, it's to the point where I go to grocery stores or, you know, just anywhere. Hey, you know, how you been? Have you seen Jayce? You know, I was hearing that for 5 years. Oh, I'm trying. They said if I send one more letter, then, you know, maybe something will happen. But taking off work, driving down there an hour away, just to get a piece of paper of a next court date, and then I'm you know, my heart's broken every time. I don't even know if my son's okay. I don't know. Where is he? I do not know. He's got to be somewhere in Freeport, but I mean, that's a small town. What? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I do not get it. I don't. And it's like, you know, yeah, cops go to places that they'll go here and they'll go here. I understand that, but nothing,
Boxing don't do more than what
nothing's
they're doing.
nothing's being done. I don't.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough. Like they need to do something about it. They're not doing. So we really just need to just
It's
go to the higher
embarrassing.
power and figure it out from there, because they're not going to do anything. They don't give a crap. They don't care. There's been plenty of missing children and whatever shootings, whatever in Freeport, and it's like they still don't know who killed so and so. I mean, that just shows how they don't do their job. And then with them FaceTiming them in the middle of the night and saying, "Oh, the kids are fine. They're just running around." Okay, but that's like we get that, but like, what about Jayce? Like, you're not gonna go get Jayce. Like, he can see Jayce, or Brittany's not gonna come out and just say, "Hey, Kade, here's Jayce. Would you like to have him for a couple weeks?" You know what I mean? Like, she hasn't even like nothing. They don't find that odd. Like, it's not like weird to them. No red flags or anything, because if he was doing that, it would be kidnapping.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Kade,
would. Go
I
ahead.
just want you to know that all of us here in the chat and those who will come after and watch this are here with you. We're thinking about you. And what we're going to do is call those numbers, continue to share this, and continue talking about it, because this case can be solved very easily, in my opinion. So it's going to be our job to work on that and try to get it done. And I want to thank you for coming on and talking with us again. And I know I'm going to have you back, and we'll hopefully be doing a good update once we get Jayce found and back with you.
We will.
I appreciate you having us. I really
Thank
do.
you.
You gave Jason his voice that he finally deserves. So
Well, you're his voice, and we're just amplifying it. So
We appreciate you guys.
thank you guys.
I need
Thank
your
you for
help
having
because
me.
I think together we can find this missing 9-year-old little boy. Please repost this video and share it with everyone you know. This is 9-year-old Jayce Ishmon, who is missing from Freeport, Illinois, and he hasn't seen his father in 5 years. Throughout these 5 years, his father, Kade, has been desperately trying to be reunited with his son. Now, 9-year-old Jayce is currently believed to be with his mother, who is in a relationship with a known abuser. Even the family of the mother have come out recently and believe both Jayce and his mother are in serious danger. 9-year-old Jayce has never been allowed to go to school, and witnesses have stated that both Jayce and his mother have been seen with bruises on their body. Now, I want to make something very clear. This is not a custody dispute. This is a situation that law enforcement needs to get involved, because there is a serious risk of life for this 9-year-old little boy and potentially other children involved. Jayce's father, Kade, has gone through the legal route, gone through the route of local law enforcement, and tried to get welfare checks done. Thus far, local law enforcement has been resistant to act and help this father, who has now tried for 5 years to be reunited with his son. Jayce's mother currently has a warrant out for her arrest due to missing court appearances and avoiding law enforcement in relations to trying to address this custody matter and get Jayce back with his father. Although local law enforcement, knowing where the mother is suspected to live, refused to go and pick her up on that warrant, calling it a petty matter. Now, Kade, who hasn't missed a single child support payment in over 5 years, although he has not seen his child, has been able to work with the family of the mother and get a missing persons report filed on both the mother and child. In addition to this, because local law enforcement refuses to act, the FBI is now getting involved. But we still need your help. Local law enforcement, DCFS, and other agencies aren't acting fast enough. And if this is an abusive situation, this child's life could be at risk if law enforcement agencies do not step in and save Jayce. So please, please share this case. Here is the full flyer so you can screenshot and share. Let's reunite Jayce with his father after 5 long years.
So that was Kade, father of 9-year-old Jayce, and his wife, who spoke with us for just over an hour. And this is the flyer that we made up. I would ask you all to screenshot it, share it out, and talk about this case. This is a very easy case. I cover a lot of cases. Those of you who followed me know this. And the cases I talk about are usually hard cases where it's a difficult answer or it's something that we've got a lot of opinions on because nobody really knows. Here, this seems like the most simplest answer to a case that I've ever been involved in, although no one is wanting to act and get it solved. How rare is it in today's society where you see a father that is wanting, and not just wanting, fighting to see and be a part of his son's life, doing everything he needs to do to be present for his son, and yet he doesn't even know where his son is, although he has partial custody. So I would ask that you share this live after it's uploaded, share it out to people who may have missed us tonight. Continue to share this case because we are going to be behind Kade in finding Jayce. And I think once we shine a light on this, forces will start to move, things will start to happen, and Jayce can be reunited with a father who loves him, a father who's going to take care of him, and who is currently taking care of his other daughter and child to be. So I think this is an amazing opportunity to advocate for a child who really needs to be back with his father. And I appreciate you all for joining me tonight to continue diving into this case. I will see you all tomorrow on TikTok. And I hope if you're new, you subscribed here to YouTube, where I plan to continue doing some more true crime cases and doing some interviews and having some discussions over here where I can put up pictures and videos so we can dive into these things. All right, everybody, this was my first YouTube live, but I'm sure there are a lot more to come, and I appreciate you all for following along as we continue to grow on our journey. Have a good night, everyone.